Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is John Campea, and this is our special open spoiler discussion for the Ryan Reynolds film Free Guy. Now, I should point out, this was actually supposed to happen earlier in the week. However, schedule things kind of got in the way. We weren't able to do it, but we are now getting caught up, and it's just in time, too, because, of course, Free Guy is going into its second weekend, and we'll talk about this more on the John Campea Show tomorrow, but did you see that Free Guy took only a 33% drop from week 1 to week 2. That represents the best second weekend drop percentage-wise for any Ryan Reynolds film that actually made any money. It's incredibly impressive. It's also the best we've seen in a while, like all summer movies. It's the best second weekend performance we've seen. So we'll talk more about that on the John Campea Show tomorrow. However, when we were getting ready to do the show earlier in the week, a bunch of you guys sent in your questions and observations and thoughts and comments about Free Guy, and let's get over there and start taking those, shall we? And just let me remind everybody my thoughts on Free Guy. The movie was wonderful. I mean, I don't know how this movie would have done if it had come out pre-pandemic, because look, it's despite the fact that it takes place in a video game world, it's not a video game. It's not based on any pre-existing IP. It's not a sequel. It's not a remake. It's not a reboot. It's, non-recognizable characters, whatever. Ryan Reynolds is obviously very famous, but just because Ryan Reynolds is in it doesn't mean it's going to be big. I mean, look at The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard. But this movie was such a pleasant surprise, and I think people who saw it, and it's like costs half to make as like say Suicide Squad did, but I think people who went in to go watch it were surprised by it, delighted by it. I was thrilled by it. Can't believe how much I watched this movie. I've gone to see it several times in the theaters. I'm sure some of you guys have as well. But anyway, you guys know that I love Free Guy. I've been just gushing about it for over a week. Anyway, let's now go over and start taking your thoughts on Free Guy, shall we? We're going to get things started off here with Casinema Reviews, who writes, I expected it to at least be fun, but it exceeded all expectations and turned out to be something really special. It really kind of did. Surprisingly clever and even deep at times. I completely agree with you. Like, the commercials, the trailers and commercials for Free Guy didn't do a spectacular job of upping the anticipation level. Like, I thought it was good, though. I did think it was a good campaign, certainly better than the campaigns of like Reminiscence or anything like that. It was a good campaign, but I didn't think it was going to have as much heart as it did. Like, I clearly kind of looked like this movie was going to have good laughs, but I wasn't expecting the heart. It definitely had that. It was surprising at times. And even if you wanted to look a little deeper behind the analogies and whatever, it actually kind of had some depth too. So I completely agree, Cinema. All right, next up, we got Zachary Melvin, who writes, I laughed so hard at Marvel Scan that I choked. I'm not quite sure what you mean by Marvel Scan. If you mean by at the end point there where Hulk and the Avengers music starts playing and he's got the Captain America shield and the that Chris Evans quick cameo was perfect. It was absolutely perfect. All right, next up, Jake C. writes, Cap's shield and the lightsaber were there before Disney bought Fox. Damn, Disney didn't even do that for Ready Player One. Props to Fox for that deal. If I'm not mistaken, and I have to, don't take my word on this because I'm not 100% sure about this, but if I'm not mistaken, I believe those shots were included and put in after the Disney acquisition. Because not a lot of people realize the timing of all this and like exactly how long this movie has kind of been sitting on the shelf getting ready to go. But this movie has actually been waiting around for a while. But I actually do think that those spots, again, fact check me on this because I could completely be wrong about it, but I think those scenes were put in after the fact. But it is a good observation, Jake. All right, next up, Ross Pitt Shark Hunter writes, my main gripe, which wasn't that big, but still annoyed me, was whenever anyone coded something or hacked something, it did the classic tap a few buttons and everything happens cliche that I hate. Oh, dude, no, believe me, I agree. It was totally there in this movie, and that does drive me crazy. It's like, oh, bring up the webcam. And then the webcam comes up. It's like, no, that's not how it would work. Oh, we need how to put whatever in this thing. Okay. That's not how that goes. Like, I remember even a couple of times it was like simple things like one, gooey click would do something. It's like, oh, in a code. And I say, that's not how that would work. No, you're right. They do it in TV shows and movies all the time. And Free Guy is guilty of it as well. Like, you're absolutely right about that, Ross. All right, next up. Jacob Silvers writes, the Hugh Jackman cameo was great. The first time I saw it, I didn't even know it was Hugh Jackman. I didn't even know. I wasn't even listening for the voice. For those of you who don't know, the guy that Molotov girl meets in the dark alley, and, you know, she gets the thing from him, says, I'll kill you if you keep asking questions, and she shoots him. Behind the mask, that was actually Hugh Jackman. So I didn't even realize it the first time I saw it. Somebody else pointed it out to me before I went to go see it for the second time. So yes, I do wish they would do a Hugh Jackman cameo with us seeing Hugh Jackman, but whatever. It was kind of fun to find that out. All right, Ross Pitt Shark Hunter writes, this movie is a mix between The Truman Show, the Lego Movie, and Ready Player One. So yeah, I was bound to have a blast. Well, I mean, here's the thing. A lot of movies can try to be a cross of this great movie and that great movie. That doesn't mean their movie's going to turn out great. Actually, more times than not, they don't. But I agree with you. I believe it kind of drew the best parts of Truman Show, Lego Movie, Ready Player One, and kind of mixed it all in. And you just got this wonderful, beautifully entertaining kind of mixture out of it at the end. And I actually had such a good time with this movie. Anyway, thanks for sharing that, Ross. Next up, My Comic Planet writes, one of three. I liked Free Guy, but not as much as I hoped. I loved Ryan Reynolds' performance and his chemistry with Comer, the special effects, and some of the jokes. But the worst part of the film for me was Taika Waititi's acting. I feel bad because I love him behind the camera, but here I hated his character. It was so over the top and his jokes were unfunny. It was so bad that whenever he was on screen, it took me out of the movie. It was like he was in a different movie, but overall, I still enjoyed it. It was a nice little fun movie. Didn't blow me away, but I had fun with it, and thought it had a lot of heart. 7 out of 10. Listen, you're not the first person I've heard, kind of mention that one of their either complaints or constructive criticisms, depending on how positive you want to be on this, was the Taika Waititi character. Now, I would say this. Really, you're not complaining about Taika Waititi's performance. You're complaining about the way the character was written. Because Taika Waititi, I mean, people forget 99% of the times, the actors don't make up the lines, right? The actors don't make up what the character says or what the character does or what the character's personality is like, right? They kind of take that from the script, work with the director, and then manifest it. And it can manifest in different ways depending on who's playing it. But this character was clearly written really over the top. And Taika Waititi played it that way. And yeah, there's some moments where for me it was too much. But at the same time, I'll say this. It also had some of the biggest laughs. Like, one of my biggest laughs in the movie was actually when Taika Waititi was talking to that one subordinate dude, right? And he's saying, "So what? You think we're like friends now, and we're gonna make up a little catchphrase?" Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Okay, what? I got it. I know what our catchphrase should be. Get back to work. I'm not gonna lie to you. I laughed my guts out when he did that. How about this for a catchphrase? Get back to work. I actually really liked that. I thought that was hilarious. So there were moments for me in the movie when that over the topness of the character sang and like really paid off. At the same time, there were moments in the film where it was so over the top. It's like, I would never believe that this guy has the savvy to grow something to this international major company, right? I just don't believe that character could do that. So it had its strengths, it had its weaknesses. So I totally see where you're coming from on My Comic Planet. All right. Let's move on here. Next up, we got James Argenta, who writes, to me, the movie's a combo of Truman Show and a 90s romantic comedy between Millie and Keys. Can't wait to the sequel called Albuquerque Boiled Turkey. I mean, for a lot of people, you might have missed it, but one of the stories that came out this past week was that Disney was impressed enough with the financial results of Free Guy that they have told Ryan Reynolds they want a sequel. So we're going to get Free Guy 2, and I am totally down for it. I'm very, very excited to see what else they do with this cast of characters and the chemistry they have. So yeah, I'm totally down for it. I cannot wait to see it. All right, next up, we got Lord Genome 76, who writes, 2 things that really annoyed me. Number 1, Movie about games mocks gamers with the loser socks splooger guy. 2, obnoxious YouTuber Cameo. Mostly enjoyed the film. Well, I mean, but here's the thing, Lord Genome. That guy is a lot of guys. Let's not pretend like that's not true. Like, they also showed a lot of hardcore real world gamers in the YouTube things. I guess that's supposed to bring a little bit of a verisimilitude to it, right? When you're showing guys like Ninja and Pokemon and others on there, right? They are legitimate gamers. So at the one hand, you're complaining that they just showed gamers as just being these splooger guys in their room. Well, no, they also showed a whole bunch of gamers as, like, the cultural trendsetters that they are, right? So no, they didn't portray, but they did show that one guy. But come on, let's not, like, if we want some verisimilitude, that guy also did represent a lot of gamers, right? Or movie fans or whatever. I mean, a lot of us are like that. So if you're going to show all these great ones, to show one that actually reflects reality a little bit, I think is perfectly fair. I think that was perfectly fair. It would almost feel too unrealistic if you didn't have a guy like that. So anyway, that's just kind of my thing. And again, I thought the YouTuber cameos, it added a little bit of, groundedness to it. It added a little bit of a real world feel to it because they all are faces and names. I didn't recognize all of them. I'm not going to lie to you. I recognized 3 or 4 of them, but I thought it added something to it, and they didn't overuse it. Like they did when they only cut away to them a couple of times, and the couple of times they did, they kept it really fast. So I thought, personally, I thought it was actually a pretty good use of it myself. By the way, the only reason I know Pokemon is because she's also from my hometown. I don't know if she's from Hamilton, Ontario, but I know she went to school in Hamilton, Ontario. So I don't know if she's native there. She's a good Canadian kid, so I'll always support those. All right, next up, we got Anton Riley, who writes, Channing Tatum to me was the funniest part of the movie, especially the part with the sock. I erupted into uncontrollable laughter. It's so funny. We just come off of one person kind of complaining about that scene, but somebody else getting a huge kick out of it. I remember I turned to Anne right near the beginning of the movie. I'm like, is that Channing Tatum? Like when he first falls out of the sky, lands in the car. I just couldn't believe it. I thought he was so great. And then the whole time when he is in the lair with Ryan Reynolds, and just the way he acted that out and pulling his dance moves and stuff. I thought the Channing Tatum bit in it was great. I really did. All right, next up. Anton Riley also writes, I will say I enjoyed this better than Suicide Squad, but my judgment is tainted by my fear of rats. I loved Ratcatcher, hated the rats. Yeah, I'm still not sure which one I liked more. I mean, listen, it's just so good for me because I saw 3 movies in a row that I loved. Suicide Squad, Free Guy, Shang-Chi. And it's been a while. It has been a while since I saw it. It's been a long time since I've seen 2 movies back to back that I thoroughly enjoyed. Like thoroughly enjoyed, let alone 3. I cannot remember the last time I saw 3 movies in a row that I'm like, I love all these movies. Anyway, so I don't know which one I prefer between Suicide Squad and Free Guy. I love them both. They're 2 very, very different movies that are going for different things, but I did enjoy them both a lot. And, unfortunately, one of them, Suicide Squad, did not do the box office business that it deserved, but one of them is doing much better. So, I mean, good for them, man. Good for them. And I cannot wait for you guys to watch Shang-Chi, by the way. All right, next up. Fanimator writes, that Chris Evans cameo was the best. During the screening during the screening I went to, people laughed and cheered when he was on screen. What the shit? Listen, I'm telling you what, too. The first screening I saw it in was a press screening, obviously. And even in the press screening, there was cheers in the theater. There was literal cheers in the theater. Number one, when they saw it was Cap's shield, you could hear a few people going, yeah, you could feel the energy level come up, right? And then they cut to Chris Evans going, what the shit? And whoa, it went right over the top at that point. At that point, everybody lost their minds and really had a good time with it. And anyway, guys, that'll do it. I know this was short and quick. Again, it was only up for a while last week when we were getting ready to do this, and only a certain number of questions were able to come in. But yeah, guys, listen, if you still have not seen Free Guy. I've gone to see it multiple times. I highly recommend you go check it out. Like, not all movies are for everybody. All film is subjective, but I feel pretty confident that this is one that I believe most people who go to see it are going to walk out with a pretty good smile on their face. And I hope that you will too. Anyway, guys, that'll do it for our little open spoiler discussion about Ryan Reynolds' film Free Guy. It's fantastic. I love it. Obviously, most people seem to really enjoy it. I hope you guys do too. Go check it out. Anyway, guys, that'll do it for me for now. Thanks a lot for being here. My name's John Campea. And until next time, my friends, bye-bye.